What's going on, everybody? It's Deborah, and again, my favorite person ever in this universe, Marty Hampton. Now, we are on episode 33. I promoted this in our most recent podcast, 5 tips from this multi-billion-dollar producer. So in case you missed episode 32, jump back an episode and make sure you check it out, because she shares 5 tips about how she was able to reach being the #1 resale team in her market 5 years in the running, which is amazing. So definitely don't forget that podcast. But this episode is even more exciting, I think, because agents love talk about leads, let's be honest. So there are lead sources after lead sources after lead sources in real estate. But today we're going to cover 8 specific ways that we've been able to generate leads successfully for Marty's business. But I think number 1, I want to go face deep into this thing, because I think it's critical. Before you even generate leads, you have to know what works. Right?
You have to track.
Yeah. How have you been able to figure out what is working for your business and what is not? Because you have a lot going on at one time.
Well, we do know every source of every closing, so that helps us. And of course, we just now started with Sisu.
Yeah.
And Sisu is just an amazing program. We got it on a huge screen in our office, and it really tracks everything. It tracks the number of people that you talk to per day if you're an agent. Any closings coming up, any buyer contracts you've got listed, any listing contracts you've got. So it really manages all your data, and plus the fact it puts you in an arena of a little bit of competition.
Ooh.
So you can see what your neighbor over there is doing, or the agent on your team is doing, and it's motivational. It's like going to the gym with somebody else to work out instead of just going by yourself.
Gotcha. And your team's pretty competitive. They can get into some competitive, fun areas.
Yeah, as long as you keep it fun, it's good.
Yeah, that's awesome. But what's important about that is Marty has a way to manage the data. So she can look at, okay, this is where all these converted leads came from. That's where I need to double down on my funds to make sure we get more leads from that method. But you can't be bringing in leads if you don't know what's working, how those leads are converting, how your agents are working and converting those leads. Because sometimes, I mean, I'm sure you've probably chatted with an agent, and sometimes it's just flipping their conversation. Is that right?
You're having the right scripts, but you know, it's a matter of the experience. Some people take to it like a duck takes to water. I mean, they just know how to talk to people, and they know how to get to the bottom line. But other agents are more into the conversation rather than the qualification of the buyer. And you know, they're trying to make a new best friend when I'm trying to get them to make a sale, you know, and make the best friend on their own time.
Yeah. So there's a very fine line, though, of doing that.
Yes, there is.
So, I mean, how do you, I mean, I'm sure you're the one that controls the conversation. I'm sure that's part of it, controlling the conversation.
Well, I was born with a natural inquisitiveness. You know, when I meet you, I want to know everything about them. Got a little bit of Yenta in me. You know, I want to know.
Are you married? You got kids? Where are you born?
Who do you want? I want to know who you want to marry. What does he want to look like? How tall does he have to be? I mean, I want to know. And if you're not married, I'm getting ready to fix you up with somebody you should be married to. Because I've got the fix.
It's true. It really is true.
I've got the
real estate matchmaker on the side. Side business.
So I love to analyze people and what makes them tick and what they're really looking for. And in the arena of real estate, that's been real helpful.
Has that been part of your recruiting? Do you ask a lot of those kind of questions?
I do with the agents, and sometimes it's hard to get through to real meaningful answers with agents because. But I've really tried to do that.
Yeah. And
say, you know, why are your goals so important to you?
Yeah.
And what are you willing to do to make whatever number they've just given me, the $500,000 in sales or income. What are you willing to do on a day-by-day basis to make that a reality?
Yeah, I love that. And so sometimes asking the right questions is important, getting the right answers based on who you are. Marty has an incredible story. So it's interesting when Marty's looking for new agents or whoever for her team, I mean, she really wants to find the right people. And you're not willing to accept less than that.
Well, I think that everybody has their strengths, and one of my weaknesses, I'll tell you about, is that I think any fool can make it in real estate because I did. You know, I don't consider myself special by any means. I think a big shot's a little shot that just kept on shooting. I mean, I really think this way. So it's a matter of just doing the deed. It's not, everybody wants it, Deborah.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be drastically successful.
Yeah.
But very few want to do the work that's necessary to be that successful.
And it's funny because people just don't see behind the scenes. You know, they see team leaders come in, come out, but what you don't see is what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, the stuff on top of business that this lady has to manage on top of that is incredible. And so the fact that not only has she been able to handle all of that, but not only produce more business in one of the toughest years in her industry is an incredible testimony. So if anything, make sure you're following her team, because this is going to be a team that has been a rock stars for 5+ years, but it's going to just get better, I think, from here. And the number 2 thing I want to dig into for lead sources is open houses. Disclaimer, open houses are not dead. They are not dead. You're not putting up the RIP sign in front of an open house. So give me your feedback, Marty. I am curious to know.
Oh, I am so sick of these articles that say open houses are dead. I'm just sick. Because it's not the open house that's dead. You know, everything that we do at Coming Soon Homes is geared towards the first open house, and it's been drastically successful. Now, what might be dead is taking a worn-out listing that you priced wrong, that you're just trying to satisfy a seller, and doing an open house 6 months later.
Yep.
But there is no way that you shouldn't be doing an open house, and you shouldn't be doing that with a pre-listing marketing program such as Coming Soon Homes. And of course, then I would say, if your open house is dead, or you think it's dead, why are we having such success with them? Why are we having agents that make 2 or 3 sales out of an open house?
It's incredible.
So there's things that I would say, you know, are you alerting all the social networks? Are you putting it on Zillow? Are you putting it on Realtor? Are you doing everything possible in as far in advance as possible to get the notice? Are you doing that Facebook circumference where you can alert the neighborhood? Are you doing everything? Have you mailed a postcard to that neighborhood? Did you put out a door hanger to that neighborhood? Have you invited the neighbors on the first hour of the open house to come and see and bring somebody that they'd love to live in their neighborhood? Because everybody in the neighborhood wants to know about the new house, what it's priced at, what it's looked at compared to theirs.
Curious. Yep.
You're going to get, if an open house is worked properly, you should get 2 other listings out of it.
Did you hear that? If it's done properly. And when she was just listing all the things her team does, that's not all of it either. You know, it's really incredible. And it, just like she said, if you're not getting success off of an open house, point the finger right here.
Yeah.
And say, okay, but do it honestly. It's nothing against you. At least you're out there trying. I gotta give you credit for that, because there's lots of agents that aren't even doing that. But sometimes just sit down and analyze, what have you actually done to spread the word about that open house? To be honest, sometimes a little Facebook post, it ain't cutting it anymore. Who the heck is going to get off their couch on a Saturday to come out to your property? So sometimes you need to consider fun strategies. Some of Marty's agents will do gift card giveaways to get people out to the house, or broker opens, like you said. One of her agents, Mary, has been running around like a chicken with her head cut off with cute little handouts, door knocking every single home in that neighborhood. Guess what? That had a heck of a lot better return than an agent that didn't do anything to that neighborhood. Nobody even knows about that.
Yeah, so if your open houses are not working, it's because the agent's not working. It's not because the open house is not working.
Yeah, big time. The next thing is the power of calls. Now, Marty is a call. She's a big thing on calls. And why do you think calls are critical for your team? I know you've seen that work.
I'm sick and tired of talking to recorders myself, so I think the human touch of actually talking to a human that doesn't sound like a recording is absolutely refreshing. And so I'm the person that goes inside the bank and does, instead of doing the drive-by teller or something. I want human contact.
Yep.
So I think there's a lot of people out there like that when they get a call. For example, I mean, I'm going to, if they know your name and you've advertised your name a lot, when you call them and tell them who you are, they'll be impressed you called.
Yeah, yep.
So I think the call is crucial. And I actually have 20, excuse me, cut that out. I actually have 20 contacts per day. Now, that's not calls. That's not dials.
Right.
That's 20 conversations about real estate. We call it prospecting with people that you don't know. Each of my agents is required to do that every single day. Now, that's prospecting. And then follow-up is with people that you've already talked to, that you
Right.
already know. So you should do 1 hour at least of follow-up.
And then they're constantly building that pipeline and working the new, working the medium, working the low. I mean, it's a
Right.
constant process. I mean, and Marty has a pretty diverse range of agents. You have
Right.
agents that are green straight out of school. You got veteran agents with years of experience. What kind of conversations do you tell your agents to have with these leads?
Well, there's two things. I mean, let's say I think the most beneficial calls right now you should be looking at everybody that didn't sell their house in 2019. And so if they didn't sell, they didn't have success. And of course, in our market, we'd have to crisscross that and see if they listed it with another agent. And that's called an expired listing or withdrawn listing. You just call them up and have a real direct approach. Say, I know you had your house on the market last year. Is there any chance that you're considering interviewing agents for the job of selling your home this year?
I love that.
And so
you
if
do
they-
really well with expireds.
Very well. And then you say, if they say, no, and just hate agents, I'm never going to talk to another agent. Oh, I understand.
There's
Absolutely.
a pressure point. Something happened
But
there.
if you had sold your house last year, where
Yeah.
would you have moved to? Try to get them back on a positive vein. Get them thinking about what they would do.
I love that.
And right now, I've got to tell you, in our market, I think it's just really crucial because markets do not stay the same, and this market will change. And what is it right now? We've got a lower inventory, we've got a booming market, but let's say, why don't you look at 5 years out? Because you're not going to have the same market that you've got 5 years from now.
Right.
So, for example, if you want to downsize, you've got a good market now. If you wait till you really want to downsize, or you're having to do a cane or something, the market's not going to be the same. So why wouldn't you make a move when it's a seller's market compared to taking a chance that seller's market might not hold?
But in order to give that information, you really got to know your market.
You got to know your market.
And you got to be able to deliver on being the professional. I've heard a lot of agents let the homeowner run the show.
Oh, such a tragedy.
It really is. I mean,
and that comes from working from fear, which we talked about last time. You're either working from fear or you're working from faith.
Yeah.
It's one of the two.
Love that. It's so critical. So please don't stop calling your leads. Just like Marty said, she requires her own agents on her own team to have a minimum of 20 conversations with people. So not total number of calls, total number of conversations a day. Imagine if you are connecting with 20 humans that didn't know who you were, didn't know what you have to offer. You've just game changed your business by adding one strategy into your process. So incredible opportunity. And you've had agents see a lot of success with that. New agents that don't have a database and don't have a whole lot of people to massage, but they take these expired lists and they make it work. And it's incredible to see them turn to business. The next thing is going to be social media now. That's obviously my forte. Love talking about social media. But honestly, there's a lot of agents who do social media and it does nothing for their business. Have you heard of that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have. And, it's hard for me. I mean, the social media thing is you and your age, this, that, and the other. But being social media is harder for me because I'm a little bit more private.
Yeah.
So to put myself out there and talk about real estate, that's no big deal.
Right.
To put myself out there and talk about my family or talk about something that's personal to me is much more challenging for me personally.
Yeah.
But you've inspired me, Deborah.
Yay! And I love that she was comfortable saying that, because I think that is a pivotal moment, because Marty's been pushing ads and stuff everywhere, billboards, radio, TV, social media for years and years and years. But really, I'm telling you, if you can get comfortable on camera talking about the challenges you do, showing your behind the scenes meetings where you're actually digging through the issues and overcoming them, that is the stuff that gives people, this is so silly, about goosebumps, because it's the real life stuff, and that's what people want to know. So with social media, what have you learned in the past few years with social media? Has it benefited your business? Are you not sure if it's benefited your business?
It's benefited the business, and what I've learned about social media is from you, actually be authentic. Just be yourself. Yeah. Mistakes and all.
Yep.
Makeup and all.
No makeup and all. I love it. I swear. And that's even something I've had to get over. I am not a video, believe it or not, I'm not a video person. I hate being behind camera. I was always that person that liked preferred being behind the camera. But, you know, it's so much easier to tell someone, to explain someone something on a video than an email. Right. I'm actually posting something that I think a 1-minute video equals 180 million words or something crazy. So imagine reading a 180 million word document versus a 1-minute video. Game changer of a conversation. But with that authenticity, we just got to get comfortable moving from outside behind the camera. I don't even, you know, I try not to even look at it very much anymore. Just get it out. As long as it's valuable, there's value-based stuff in it. I don't care what I look like, get it out. And so I think that's awesome that Marty's willing to open up even her personal side, which is hard, and sometimes a little overwhelming to do that for your business. Now, that goes straight into paid advertisements. Marty spent a lot of money on building her business and putting the money that she's making and revenue back into her business, which I think is important too. So is there anything in particular that you're doing paid advertising that you've gotten really good success from over the years?
I've been really successful with radio, and radio's been a good avenue for me. And of course, then the challenge with that is you get the big investors that have really, really deep pockets that are subsidized by foreign money, and they spend much more money than you can ever spend. So fortunately, I had a rapport already built up with our area people, so they know me. They know that I know real estate, so I still, even though they have outspent me 4 times, 5 times over, we still have a lot of sales from that. So I think radio is really good. I think all of it's really good. It's just a matter of TV. You would have to spend so much money to be effective on TV. There's so many different channels. It's just really a very, very expensive game. And of course, I have to give Matt Wagner, who's the president of Rate, a real shout out, because he's just coached me every inch of the way in radio, and I wouldn't trade that. I wouldn't trade my relationship with him. I wouldn't trade my relationship with Rate for any other single thing that I've done in real estate. So it's been big, and it's been almost 15 years now that we've been on the radio.
Do you create all your own spots?
I do.
What?
I create a lot of them. There's some that we did with Sean Hannity and things like that I didn't totally create.
Yeah, but you incubate the concept. Yeah. That's amazing. And I've seen, you get calls, direct calls, which is something agents don't get a lot of anymore. It's calls off those radio spots, which is amazing. Have you seen that converts quick?
It does, because they built a relationship with me by hearing me over and over again, and hopefully I've been real authentic, because I am on radio. You can't hide your accent.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I'm not from Jersey, you know. So they can tell you got a little Southern thing going on, and they trust you. Yeah, so that's good.
And I love it because it's personal. You actually hear a lot of other radio ads that they spend millions of dollars a year on, and they're just not personal. They're not tailored. To be honest, a lot of them have no freaking clue about this market, which this woman does. She's been in it. She's had her money and her business here. So sometimes partnering with a local specialist is a heck of a lot better going with some national multi-marketed real estate company sometimes. So those paid advertisements are huge. But also another thing that I've heard is dead, which is interesting because I don't believe this is true, is print advertising.
Well, if it's not dead, it's on life support.
Okay.
Because a lot of it is dead. Because by the time you see it in a homes magazine, if the house was any good, it's gone. Right. Everybody goes to Google first. There's no doubt about that. Yep. But at the same time, you've got to have some kind of presence there, especially with your higher end luxury properties.
You do postcards, if I'm not mistaken. And I literally heard a conversation a few months ago that a seller, actually, I guess the seller received a postcard. It was on the table of someone in that home. A friend came over to that person and saw the postcard on their table and called Marty's team. Yeah. So the opportunity's there, but also I think the message needs to be right.
Yeah, it needs to be right. And I think a just sold postcard is probably one of the best ones. Probably the second one is just a just listed postcard. So those two I think are still strong in print.
Do you do that for all your listings or specific strategic listings?
The listings where I want more of them in that area.
Okay. So you hyper focus on the ones that you want more business in. Second to last is door knocking. Now, some agents gawk at this, and some, kill it. Have you seen success actually getting business off of door knocking?
Well, I think door knocking is really a great thing to do. for an open house, for example. But here's a new one. When you're there, a lot of agents have to go to their home inspections because of laws. We can't leave inspectors and buyers in the property without having a presence there. But you can go in another part of the house. You can step right outside to talk to the neighbor. You can say, you know, I've just put this house under contract and we're doing the inspection now. Hopefully we're going to close at the end of the month, but now I've got all these people that call me on this house and I don't have any home to show them in your neighborhood. Do you happen to know anybody that would be interested in selling their home?
Yeah. And I guarantee they would say, I think I do.
Well, what they get for that house?
Yeah. Awesome.
So making the use of, you know, every minute that you have to turn that minute into a time that you can have a conversation about real estate with a live person, a live human is a good thing. So
Love
door
that.
knocking is great.
Yeah, the old school methodology. Amazing. And actually, number 8, I'm actually going to dig into because this is actually something I've physically seen results on over the past 4 days. Which is crazy because we are always updating Marty's own team's marketing strategies and what we're doing, what's working, what's not. And something we've recently started playing with is not just social media and good content, but actually doing marketplace and doing messaging back and forth with people. I mean, millennials like me, I hate to say it, but we don't want to talk to somebody. Millennials are statistically proven to be more comfortable purchasing something from a robot than from a human being. And that is a crazy tariff that we have enough trust in a business to handle a transaction through a robot. So if that doesn't show you that having that connection is important, I don't know how many times I've personally reached out to a business and I've messaged the business on Facebook and I never hear a thing back. Guess what? I was trying to spend money with your business and you couldn't even give me the time of day to respond.
Right.
And so just within changing our strategies on responding, I got her team right now chatting with buyers every single day, sending new leads to the team, specifically through just having conversations on Facebook Messenger.
Awesome.
That's it. People just want to talk.
Yeah.
And if you can hit their stress point on what they're not finding and you can help them find it, game changer of a conversation. So if you're looking for new, updated, fresh ways to get leads this year, keep in mind, not all the old methods are dead. Some of them still work. So make sure you subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Maybe you have some lead sources we didn't cover today that work for you. So feel free to drop your own lead sources that are working for your business to try to help everybody in our podcast community develop and increase their leads for 2020. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Stand by for our next episode in a few weeks. We hope you enjoyed. We will talk to you soon. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Bye.